Hello everybody and welcome to the Quintessential Quintuplets 2, Season 2, Episode 1 anime review. We just got right back into it. Very happy that they just reminded me where we were with, sick Fuutarou and that. To start with, gonna just say, haven't read the manga, so please don't spoil. It's not that hard. Don't think people will, but I gotta say it regardless. Anyway, yeah, I guess I'll start by talking about the art change and everything. I almost dropped my notes, that would have been bad. The art change and everything. From the trailers and stuff, I thought it looked worse. I was like, okay, it doesn't look completely atrocious, but it does not look as nice as the first season. But now, having seen it in practice, episode 1, I just kind of fine in it. I'm like, alright, it's nothing worth causing a fuss about, in my opinion. You can have whichever one you prefer, but I don't think it's bad enough to warrant serious discussion. If I'm being completely honest, except the thighs though. They will be missed. Miss you, thighs. Gonna miss you. But anyway, let's get into the episode, see how everything kicked off and went down and all that other stuff, and do this thing. So we open up with a dream, or a flashback, a flash dream, of young Fuutarou. Remember, he was a chav, he was gangster, blonde hair and all that, with one of the Quints, who for the purpose of this episode we will call Small Quint with an O, because I don't think we don't know which one it was, as from what I can tell, and they didn't say the they didn't give him a name. So if there's like a name that's commonly used for her, or are they going to give one later? If they're going to give me one later, just don't tell me nothing. But for right now, if there's like a fan name for her, you know what I mean, tell me and I'll use it. He's in hospital now. Remember at the end of season 1, he got sick at the ski resort. Was it a ski resort? I think it was a ski resort. He's in the hospital and all that. Nino comes to see him and hide, and she notices his bracelet. And I'm going to be completely frank with you guys. I don't remember the importance of the bracelet. My guess is she probably gave it to him in disguise, and realizes he's still got it. I could be wrong on that. I did watch the first season, I promise, but I forgot. So if that was what it was, please let me know what the bracelet is. So I remember. Turns out they paid for him for his hospital trip, and I'm just thinking, damn, you have to pay for hospitals in Japan? That kind of sucks. Come on. The UK. Where the hell were we? She leaves pretty quick. By leaves, I mean she hides behind a curtain, and then the others all come in. I say the others. Itsuki's not there, but the other 3 are all there, and they've all come to see him as well. Yotsuba can smell Nino because she stinks of perfume. She's got a lot of perfume on. She's that kind of one. Ichika chops Fuutarou at some point for saying, Miku's trying to be all friendly and get in there, and he's just not having any of it. He's like, I'm better on my own, and he gets head chopped for it, which is fair enough. And then she's bringing him notes from school. Ichika, this is probably specified. She's still going to school. Why is she still going to school? Because Fuutarou's there, because she seems to be, I mean, how many of them have admitted to themselves they have a thing for Fuutarou? Because Ichika is definitely, has Miku? Miku probably definitely has, right? That's at least 2. Yotsuba is a wild card, who can tell what she's thinking? And I think the other 2 are a big no-no anyway. Then obviously after that, Miku and Ichika force feed him some croissants. I think they were croissants. Croissants are I haven't had a croissant in years. I want a croissant now, but it's late. The store's not open, which is kind of gutting. I really want a croissant. I might, send in a delivery request for a croissant. Yotsuba finds Nino. She wasn't hiding particularly well. And then the 4 of them, I can't count, it turns out. 4 of them all go, and then once they're gone, he's like, I feel a little bit better now, because my friends, my nakamas, they came to save me. Save me? See me. There's no danger. He's just got a cold or something. He's fine. He's relatively fine. Now he's getting discharged, and the 4 of them are still hanging around the hospital. Turns out they're not actually there to see him at all. Them seeing him is just a bonus, so to speak. They're there to get some vaccinations, which is apropos, I guess. He's mad then because they didn't come especially to see him. He's like, you guys made me happy, and now I'm all sad because you lied to me. Whatever. Doctor says he expects great things from him. Fuutarou, he overhears him, and then he remembers the doctor. He was the dad or the caretaker of Small Quint, who he met a long time ago. I don't know if it was the dad or just the caretaker. It was with Small Quint. He was with Small Quint. He wakes up and Itsuki is there and he mistakenly sees her as Small Quint briefly. Asks him, hey, why do you study? And he gives a boring answer. What is it? But he's like, because I'm a student and studying is what students should do. And it's like, meh, boring. They then have a staring battle briefly because she's like, tell me the real reason. And they briefly stare. And I mean briefly because the nurses are like, oh, young love. And then they're like, Baka. Okay, just, I'm not leaving. You gotta tell me. And he's like, well, it all began a long time ago. We then get a flashback section of Fuutarou being a right chav little brat on a train. He's causing trouble on his Kyoto school trip. He has a camera. There's these two friends that are close childhood friends. I don't know who they're called, and he's just with this group of kids. He feigns sickness. He's like, oh, my stomach, you know, pretends he's sick, just to get away from them, basically, because he's like, yeah, you throw out the useless junk, and it turns out he's the useless junk, so he left them alone so they have more fun. And it's like, Fuutarou, I feel bad for you. Then this random woman shows up, starts accosting him, saying that he took a photo of her, because you're not supposed to take sneak photos in Japan, which he never did. I mean, you shouldn't do it, you know, anywhere really. It's kind of rude. But I think that it's like a crime in Japan. He's like, I didn't take the picture. The cops do show up and are like, hey, easy way to prove this. Show us your your camera. We're going to see if you took the pictures. And he's like, okay, I'll do that. And then he has a thought and he's like, oh wait, I've got a load of pictures on there of that girl. So presumably he had a thing for the class rep girl, but the class rep girl was with the dorky kid. So, or not with the dorky kid, but they were like a thing, and he was jealous. So and he was also like, oh, I can't show them that I'm sneaking pictures of this woman, but there is this other girl, so I can't. He does get bailed out by Small Quint. Shows up, like, I saw the whole thing. He's innocent. And then to end the story, the aliens attacked. Yeah, that's the end of the flashbacks. True story, actually. Fuutarou would never lie. So, aliens. Who saw that coming? Obviously, it wasn't actually aliens, guys. It was that wasn't the real ending. I'm just gonna let that slip. Itsuki was annoyed because he obviously made a very abrupt ending for some reason, which we'll get to. But she can tell meeting that girl changed him. And he's like, yeah. She's like, hey, help me change too. And he's like, and she says the same thing as Small Quint, which was, I wrote it down. She said, we need you. And he's like, wait a minute. He starts getting to wait a minute. Small Quint brought 5 lucky charms, back then. And then Itsuki has got one. I think she's like, I can't remember if I was given it or if I bought it. Very clever way of not eliminating Itsuki from the running right there. He starts putting it together. He's like, you've got a charm. Small Quint bought 5 of them. And it's like, oh my god. He starts putting it together. And then the others interrupt and take Itsuki away for her jabs. And then after that, felt really gutted at this part, honestly. After that, he thinks, it's probably a coincidence. I was like, no, you were being so smart. Like, how many anime characters would have not even noticed anything? The fact that he noticed something, I was like, yes. And then he wrote it off as coincidence. I was like, no, this was a really up and down time. I'm sure you can agree. Later on, after he's discharged, he's at their house. He gets them all to wear their hair the same. Kind of like they're in a ponytail, right? Which is very nice if you like ponytails, like Kyon. He likes ponytails. Can't tell who's who, though. He tries to get them right, and I don't think he got a single one right, which is... feels bad, man. We've been for a whole season of this. You should at least know Couldn't he tell who they were in an earlier episode, though? Like, you could tell it was Miku or Itsuki? One of them. I can't remember. Obviously, it's obvious to us. It also is kind of weird because, like, it's really obvious to us because they have different hair lengths and different hair colours. Obviously, I think their hair is meant to be the same colour. It's just for convenience sake that it's different. But Ichika's got short hair. How do you get that one wrong? That's what I'm saying. Yotsuba's hair is pretty short too, so doesn't quite work, but I can see what they were going for. Basically what happened, he walked in the building and someone was in a towel in the middle of the room. Despite the fact he rang the doorbell and was obviously granted entry, someone decided to not wear clothes. And, in their haste to get away, they threw a bag at him which contained test results. All of these test results were 0. And so he is on a mission to figure out who the crap one is. And it's He blames Yotsuba at first, which, you know, fair enough. He then has got to figure out who's who, right? Who was the one that threw the stuff? Who was the mysterious lady? So he first figures out, shampoo. I can smell that and starts sniffing them and like, it's kind of gross. He then figures out, I got an idea. All of you need to call me a pervert and then I'll be able to figure it out. And then I think it was like Nino destroys him verbally, so the others don't get a go. Then Miku says to check their moles. I don't know where their moles are. I'm going to assume it's like somewhere naughty. And she's like, I wouldn't mind. And then Itsuki's like, no, stop it. That's not okay. Like, serious Itsuki. She's like, no, behave. Ichika then says they have a sixth sibling called Mutsumi. Maybe I should have called Mutsumi Small Quint. That would have made sense. Of course, she's joking, and he has none of this. His last resort is to instead make them redo a test, because obviously they'll get a 0 again if, if it's them. So easy to figure out who it is, right? Not so fast. So we then go to Ichika. Turns out it was her that was in the thing, and she was just so overwhelmed. However, this plays out in her favour, because the test before, she wasn't really trying. If she tries, she can do better than a 0, so it's going to come out empty. Then she realises, handwriting. We all have different handwriting. That's how he's going to tell us apart, obviously. So she changes her handwriting, so he can't tell it's her, basically. He still figured out it was her, though, because she does a B different. She draws the letter B differently from the rest, which is a hell of a thing to pick up on, although I guess you would pick up on it if you were doing all the stuff he does. He sees the others' scores, or others' tests, and realises, hang on a minute, all of these little, what do you call them, little characteristics, I guess, in their writing come through in all of them, and they're in the culprit's test as well. So he figured, hang on a minute, you all failed one, what are you doing? Itsuki straight up then asks him, after that shenanigans, hey, are you trying to tell us apart because of the small Quint 5 years ago? And he's like, yes, I think it was one of you. And then he just straight up asks them, have any of you met me before? And obviously none of them will say anything, because that would ruin the mystery. But also, did he consider the fact that he looked blonde? I don't think they know that yet, do they? That he was a chap. Although they did, they saw the picture. No, they do know. I remember that was near the end. I remember they did see the picture. They nobody says yes, so whoever it is either lying or just doesn't remember, or there's actually a sixth sibling. Who knows? Can't be any of you idiots, is what he says. He's like, can't be any of you idiots, and they're just a bit harsh. But then he's like, now that I look at you, all of you can be quite different. I'm assuming he means more personality-wise than look-wise. And that's where we ended the first episode. I had a lot of fun this coming back. I did. I like that this show's got mystery to it. Obviously there's a harem, rom-com, whatever you want to call it. But I like there's the mystery of who's gonna win, which is why I'm glad I've not read the manga or nothing. Because then, I'd just be waiting for it to play out. I did also read a rumour, not confirmed anywhere, but I read that this is going to have an anime original ending, which is kind of wild. It could, because I don't think they're going to, looking at how much of the manga was left from where we left off, I don't think there's enough to do it all in 12 episodes. 12 episodes isn't enough to cover all of what's left. So I guess instead of doing a third season, which I thought they might do, but whatever, I guess they might do an anime original ending. And if that is the case, are we going to have someone else win? I don't know who wins in the manga, as I said, but is it going to be someone different, Maybe they'll just be like, okay, who does everybody like the most? Let's have a look. And then they'll just give it to that one, just to please the most people. You could see him doing it. I don't care what they do, because I've not read the manga, it doesn't affect me. But I do wonder how it's going to go. That is what I think. But for right now, though, what's my favourite part of this week's episode? Let's check it out. So my favourite part is the whole backstory with Small Quint. We kind of alluded to it last season from what I remember, but they didn't go properly into it like they did here. Still have no idea who Small Quint could be. There didn't seem to really be any clues as to who it could be. I don't think the voice, had anything to do with it. If that, they wouldn't do that, right? They wouldn't make it that obvious. Give that one the right voice actor. You'd be able to tell. They wouldn't. I might have to listen again now just to see if they did that. But They wouldn't do that. They're smarter than that, surely they are. Anyway, yeah, I don't know who it could be. I was trying to think about this before the recording started. I was like, who's most likely? And I genuinely don't know. Whoever it is obviously lying now, so it could be anything. Could be anything. Ichika was kind of suspicious because she said, like, why did it have to be you? Like, sort of implying he was special. Or maybe that's me looking far too deep into it. I have no actual clue. But for right now, thank you everybody for watching this review. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe and stuff, because I'll be here every bloody week recording an episode review. Isn't that granddadly do? What does that even mean? I have no clue. Sick rhyme by me. But for right now, I'll see you next week. So take care and bye, guys.